Get out of top chat. Let's see here. Give it a couple seconds. See if anybody pops in. If you're here, let me know. And if anybody can let me know if you can hear me okay. I tried 3 different mics and none of them would connect to my phone. So we're just kind of winging it today. I wasn't planning on doing anything today, but then I had some thoughts this morning, especially considering that where we're at almost a year after the accident. So we'll give it a couple more minutes for people to pop in. It looks like one person's here. Can you hear me okay? Okay, let's see here. I cannot see anything yet. But what is this? No, I don't want to do that. Why is it green screening me now? There we go. That's better. I'm still getting back into the swing of this, and it's a little nerve-wracking, but there's been a lot going on. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. So this morning I went to the doctor's office, and well, to preface that, so we're not completely moved in yet. Hey, CUCV farmer. We are all living here. We're all under one roof again. We're cooking our meals here. Bathrooms work, which is a huge improvement. About a week after we started using the kitchen, the stove took a crap. So I can use the range top, but the oven doesn't work, which anybody who knows me knows that baking is my gig. And, so I haven't been able to use the oven part for anything, but can cook a lot of stovetop meals. We have the crock pot, so we're good there. But I was thinking about what a long process this has been. It's been almost a year. It'll be a year on April 23rd since the tractor demoed our house. And we've been through so much. We lost so much. And through this whole rebuilding process, we used a lot of preps. We lost a lot of preps. And with everything going on right now, I was starting to feel a little overwhelmed. And, oh, thanks, Mike. I was starting to feel overwhelmed and behind the game a lot because I'm so used to being so prepared and ahead of everyone else. And, I really felt secure in where we were before everything happened. So I really had to change my mindset through everything and not focus on everything that we lost and how far behind we are now, but look at this as an opportunity for rebuilding and for changing the process of how we prep to be better for our individual situation. So, a lot of the things that we lost or used were things like canned goods and canning equipment and preserving equipment, things like that. So with the opportunity to rebuild comes the opportunity to improve your process. So things that I'm considering right now is because a lot of our gardens were wiped out, and our house position is different now, so that changes what our gardens are. I'm looking at, okay, what can I do to make our gardens more efficient this year? What permaculture can I add now that we have a different orientation of our space? It's not necessarily more space, but it's just different. And it's a clean slate, and it's a chance to start over and figure out what we want to do to be more efficient. No, Hala, I don't do hydroponics, not yet, because I don't think I've ever seen you in here before, but hey, Ohio Valley. So about a year ago, our house was destroyed by a runaway tractor, and it completely obliterated our gardens, our house, everything. So we're completely starting over. So hydroponics may be down the line, but for right now, we're starting everything from scratch. So I got this lovely seed rack back here. That's been starting a lot of our plants for this year, but I've also got all sorts of trees and shrubs. I don't know if I can pardon our construction mess and the snow outside, but I've got all kinds of stuff started here, and then over in our patio window, I've got way too much other stuff and more stuff to start soon. The bedroom windowsills in our room are full with germination mats and plants and things. But a lot of planning went into what I'm starting, when, how, because not only do I have our new gardens to plan for, but we also have the homestead and garden swap that I arrange coming up in May. So for anybody in the northern Pennsylvania, upstate New York area who isn't going to Vision Preparedness's Bug Out Weekend, if you want something to do on that Saturday, we're having the free homestead and garden swap meet in Lisle, New York. But anyway, so with the reorientation, the first thing to do was to figure out what we wanted to do with permaculture, with raised beds, with basically, aside from our orchard, which was untouched, starting over from scratch. And that process is still ongoing. Like, I had a vision of what I wanted things to be, but then, we got a stove, CUCV. Thank you. We did have a friend that has a propane stove to give us, and we got it. But now we have to run the propane line because the previous stove here was electric. And I hate electric stoves. It wasn't the plan to get a propane stove anyway. But now it's just a matter of, my husband's back to work now. So having the time to do that with everything else that still needs to be done is just crazy. I mean, we don't even have proper porches yet. So, but I appreciate the sentiment. That's awesome. But so the things I had planned out in my head and I discussed with my husband, my vision was a little bit different than his. And he's much better at orientation and dimensions and things because he's a builder. So he knows this stuff in his head. And so not everything I had planned was going to work out. My son is watching the live stream and flashing me on his tablet, so that's funny. But so we're still working through that, and again, it's a process. So I've kind of retrained my brain to not think of these changes and these spokes, getting sticks thrown in them as setbacks. It's just part of the process. So from Little Rock, Arkansas. I've heard of aeroponics, but it's not something I've really researched a lot yet. Right now, I'm just worried about getting my plants and things back into the ground. So part of that process, we've got the garden planning, we've got the changes that have to go, constantly going through that. But we also have to look at, okay, when things start coming in, how are we going to preserve those? I think one of my dehydrators may have made it. The other ones I'm not so sure about. Once we start moving in more and get things unpacked, I'll know more about that. But again, it's planning for those things. Do I want to invest in better dehydrators with all of the added expenses we have with construction? Because let's face it, we have not gotten a dime from the Farmers Insurance Company yet. And our insurance money, everything went into getting this place here and going, and that is gone. So my husband just started taking on projects again. I shouldn't say back to work because he's self-employed, but he just started doing, projects again. So we do have some money coming in. We have my income, but there's a lot to do, and it's rebuying stuff that we've already invested in and already bought before. But it's weighing those pros and cons. Okay, I had a Presto pressure canner before. Do I want to take the time and save up and go for the All-American so I never have to buy another seal again? Do we want to invest in, a better rain catchment system now that we have better gutters than we had before? Or do we want to just adapt to the things that we had prior to the accident? We had a lot of projects already slated for this coming year, actually slated for last year that, because of everything happening, didn't happen. Like upgrading our rabbit hutches and building a turkey pen and things like that. And all those things, have to work into the mix. So it's super busy. It's super crazy. My son's giving me the stare down. Please don't look at me, honey. He's just so cute. You know, I wish I could show him to you guys, but he's 10. I won't do that. But anyway, so it's a matter of, you know, what do we have? I can't even remember. As a lot of you know, in between all of this stuff and living in a cabin, using an outhouse, I had to have major spinal surgery and I was laid up for months before that. So everything got packed up when I wasn't around. So relocating the rest of my grow lights. I did buy this rack new and it came with the white lights that you see. But like my lights, like, oh, I can't lift that shoulder very much. The lights, like the one on top here, I have tons of those. And I love them. They're energy efficient. They're adjustable. I can adjust the height. I can put them anywhere. I have a bunch of them, but I can't find them. So this one I bought new because I needed something for that upper shelf and I needed it right away. But like I have other things to start, but the windows are doing a fine enough job now with my cuttings and my bare root items. But for the rest of the seedlings that I've got going in, like today and tomorrow, I'm gonna need those lights. Hey Loa, your package is going out this week. Our post office is never open when it's supposed to be. They have a 3-hour gap in the middle of the day, which is usually when I'm available, that they're closed. And then they open for like an hour after that and then they're done. So I do have everything ready to go out to you. Your elderberry cuttings actually have a good start on the roots, but you know, okay, holla, Miracle Grow or poop, definitely poop. It's one of the main reasons we raise meat rabbits, because it can go right onto the plants. It makes great compost tea if you're into that. We grow comfrey and add that to our compost tea. And, you know, goat, sheep, and rabbit, any vegan animal that has pelleted poop, it doesn't have to compost. It can go right on the plants and it's not too hot. So where was I? Oh, lights. So I don't know what we have because I wasn't too involved in the packing process. So I don't know what got destroyed and what made it. So I'm slowly trying to get the kids to bring out a box or two here and there and unpacking it. But a lot of our furniture is still in storage. So we don't really have a place to put all this stuff. So again, it's one of those things that it's a process and I have to be patient. And with everything going on in the world right now, and I'm not good at being patient anyway, I'm really feeling a lot of pressure to get all of this done. So I really have to, you know, calm myself. Just remember, it's a process. We have what we have. We have a great start on our food supply for the year, and it will come. I don't think we're going to get nuked anytime soon. I don't know if you can see this, but it is snowing outside right now. So it's not like anything is going to get planted right now anyway. So exactly, it's in God's time. Hey, Cersei, you want to come up here? This is our newest, actually, she's not our newest mama. She has one baby that she brought into us. We're not sure if she had any more or just the one. This is Cersei. Hey, Tuck, how are you? And she is one of our original mamas. We have a couple of really cute kittens if anybody wants to adopt any. My mom already spoke for one of the males, but we have 2 females. One's a couple weeks old and one was just born 3 days ago. So, okay, the vines that grow up the side of castles, that's usually ivy. It can be grapes. There's lots of things, but when you look at castles with things, it's usually English ivy, and which you can make soap out of, by the way. Holla, if you're enjoying this conversation and you want to follow for homesteading, please, you know, feel free to subscribe and ring that bell icon. I haven't been consistent lately because of everything going on, but now that things are settling down, and hey, Donnie, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. You know, I'm hoping to have my my studio built soon. Actually, I'll take you, if you don't mind our construction zone. I'll take you right over here. So this is what is going to be my son's room right here to the end of that window. And we've got all kinds of insulation and stuff here, if you can see that. But over here on the other side of this window, this area right here in the corner, let's see, I can't see what I'm showing you. Well, this area right here, that window will be in my son's room, but this whole area back here, that's going to be the STP studio. So that will be my space. I've got this nice little window here. And I'm hoping to be able to do some sort of weekly live. I'm not sure when I'll be able to schedule that. And it's hard because so many of my friends that have channels also have weekly lives. So trying to find the right time slot is going to be a little tricky, but I'm thinking that probably once race season starts and my husband and my oldest daughter go to the races on Saturday nights, that might be kind of what works out best for us. Definitely new beginnings, JS. Thanks for joining us. Holly, you can actually get Venus flytraps at Walmart and Lowe's all the time. But as I'll tell everybody, one of the best places to get plants and cuttings, and if you want to support small business, is to go to Etsy. That's where I've got a lot of my stuff that I can't get locally. I've got, let's see, I'm looking at them right now. I've got hardy kiwi vines. I've got golden raspberries. Heritage raspberries. American hazelnuts. Marquis grapes. Another kind of grape, I can't remember what they're called. It starts with a C. I already have Concords and Niagaras growing here, so we're good there. I've also got persimmon trees over here that I bought bare root off of Etsy. I've got pawpaw trees that are doing very well over in the patio window. I got a bay laurel so I can grow my own bay leaves. I got, this is like one of my favorites. I highlighted this on my Instagram and Facebook page. This is eucalyptus, and it's, even the little leaves smell so good. I just can't wait till this gets bigger. But yeah, so there's a lot of things that you can get there that will grow in your area, that even though they might not be native to your area, they'll grow just fine. One of the things that I tried to start from seed and it didn't work out, so I'm probably going to have to order some cuttings or some bare root stock, is the jujube plant. It's also known as a Chinese date, and they sound fantastic. It's something I want to try. It's not something I ever would have thought would grow here, but they do. Last year, our growing zone was upgraded to 6B from, I think it was 4B back then, or 4. So that really expands the types of things that we can grow here. So, Dawn, you've been busy with the animals. Which animals? I can't remember which ones you have. I'd love to hear about it. Hey, Janet, I'm glad you're listening. Thanks for joining us. And rhubarb pie, yes, Hala. I make rhubarb pie. It's awesome. I'm sorry, honey, what?
Am I allowed to poop with my headphones on?
Yes. Oh my, he just asked if he's allowed to poop with his headphones on. The joys of being a boy mom, right? Yeah, the leaves of the rhubarb plant are toxic, and you don't want to put them in your compost. They can actually kill other plants, but the stalks are delicious. You can actually shade the plant, like put like a barrel over it once it starts to emerge, and not allow it sunlight, and that will lead to the better pink stalks that you see in the supermarkets, rather than the green woodier stalks that you'll get if you leave it open to sunlight. Speaking of rhubarb, the year before, my rhubarb was out of control. I planted it the first year that we bought the house back in 2000 and we bought it late 2010. So it was 2011 I planted it, and it was everywhere. So I divided it up. I had literally like 4 5-gallon drywall mud buckets full of rhubarb crowns. and I was giving it away left and right. I gave it away at the Homestead and Garden Swap. I took it to my doctor's office and gave buckets away there. I, put messages out on Facebook and gave a bunch to people in our mag. And then the accident happened, and now I have none. And I actually had to order rhubarb crowns that will be coming in the mail today. So funny how that works. And then you can't get a hold of the people that you gave the crowns to. But it's just one of those things that life goes on, and it's part of the process. You just slowly replace what you've lost. So but anyway, so I went through, so the garden's a process, and then the preserving equipment, replacing that will be a process. And then planning for next year and what equipment we were still lacking, and what other what other equipment, supplies, things we're still lacking. It's going to be an ongoing process. I am extremely fortunate that one of the members of our mag, she's been prepping for decades, just like I am. Holla, if you can get rhubarb pie, that's great too. If you can't find rhubarb pie, you can always order some strawberry rhubarb jam off of Etsy. And that will give you an idea of what that pie filling will taste like. Usually you want to pair rhubarb with something a little sweeter because it's very tart. But it grows in all kinds of climates. I don't think it'll grow where it's super hot, because it's one of those first springtime kind of crops, but it's very high in vitamin K. So, in a shit hits the fan scenario, it's really important to have things like rhubarb and asparagus that come up early and kind of give you that vitamin boost at the end of a long, starving winter. But to get back to the mag member, she's been prepping for a long time. She has lots of buckets of wheat berries and rice and things like that. And we still have a lot of that made it. But again, we were living off of some of our preps while we were rebuilding. But they are switching to all organic. The stuff that they got was as clean as they could get at the time, but they're switching to all organic, and they have that luxury. So she's actually gifting me the buckets to replace some of what we've had to use and some of what we lost. So that is such a blessing, because an empty pantry is a panicked pantry, and nobody wants to panic, especially when things are, getting a little iffy out there right now with, the whole tariff wars and things like that. And prices are skyrocketing. And as a prepper, we all knew this was going to happen eventually. Every one of us. Hey, Billy, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, oops. So this is no shock. We all have been planning for this. And a lot of people kind of let their guard down when a certain person just won the White House. And I will tell everybody this, because I get accused of being like a Trumper, all the time. I don't like the man personally, but I don't believe in any politicians. Like, there's certain ones I like more than others. But say what you want about the man. He understands negotiation. He understands money better than most people ever will. And he understands strategy. I mean, the guy, he's crass, he's conceited. I can't stand listening to him talk, but whether it's for good or bad, he has a plan. And if we've been prepping all along, we've been ready for this, or at least we've been trying to get ready for this. I put all my faith in one man, and that's Jesus. And it doesn't matter who's in the White House. I like some people more than others. I'm glad this person won as opposed to the alternative. But things just aren't libertarian enough for me. I want to see government get out of everything. get out of our lives, get out of our pockets, and just do what they're supposed to do, and that's protect the people. And once they start doing that and putting American people first and protecting us from the poisons that are being put in our food and foreign threats and things like that, which I see things going in that direction. I like it, but again, I'm cautiously optimistic. So don't put all your faith in one man, at least not one man on earth right now anyway. So I'll get off my soapbox on that for now. I know I'm kind of going everywhere. It's really hard for me to get back into the swing of things with keeping my train of thought and reading the chat. That's good to hear, Ohio Valley. I mean, I've heard that too, and I've seen some great stories, and then I've heard a couple stories that were not so great, but I consider the source. Actually, back in the late 90s, one of the girls that was actually in my first wedding, she was engaged to like a third or fourth cousin of his. And they sent him a wedding invitation. And even though he didn't attend, and he probably never even saw the invitation, like his assistant or whoever was in charge of the gifts sent them like a huge, like multi-$1,000 fine china set. So that was really nice of him, or his assistant, who knows, but I've heard more good than bad. It's just, seeing anybody put up on that pedestal gives me the ick. And just certain personality types, they rub you the wrong way. That's why I try not to watch TV and interviews and things too much. I would rather read about it, because then I kind of have that objective view without getting the personal, like, heebie-jeebies out of that. Hey, JKR, how are you? I guess the overall message of this is that no matter how early in the game you are to prepping, how many setbacks you get, how hard it is to feel like you're ready and to get to the end game. It's just important to make sure that you trust the process. You have to keep plugging away at it. You have to know that you're never going to be done. It's not going to be like the Homestead movie, which I thought was a pretty decent movie, but very unrealistic as far as we're not multimillionaires. We don't have tons of greenhouses and a giant forest and a mountaintop compound. If you do, hit me up. We can be friends. But for most of us, we can never attain that level of preparedness. And hold on just a moment, please. Okay, sorry, I thought they were coming up the driveway, but it wasn't what I thought it was. Yeah, Hudson Valley, exactly. We'll never truly be ready for it. So, and that's why, I'm preaching self-sufficiency. I'm preaching local trade, local networks, local barter. Know where you can get the things that you need locally and where people can grow it, and the things that you can't get locally and won't be able to if shit hits the fan. Make sure that that's the stuff that you're stocking and that you're able to grow, make, mend, and source the stuff that you need. I always tell people the only way to be truly prepared is through self-sufficiency and local barter. And that's why, with my back and my other health conditions, gardening, even though I love it so much, it's very hard for me once things get outside and get in the heat. So the more I can do with permaculture that will give us food on a yearly basis with minimal effort, the better off we're going to be in the long run. And that's also something that I can leave to our children. The better prepared I leave our property, the better prepared I'm leaving them in the world when I'm out of here. So let's see here. Tuck, I haven't seen Civil War. you know, Doomsday Preppers, when that came out, we were watching it and it's like, oh, that's what we are, but this show makes us look crazy. But you know, that's the entertainment value of it. Homestead, um, decent movie. It gave us some good ideas. But you know, again, it's kind of unrealistic. It gave you some things to think about with different scenarios for sure, but their level of preparedness is pretty unattainable for everybody but the top 0.5%. Um, hardest part is finding a mag, not creating one, but finding, yeah. You know, because JKR, a lot of people, you know, once they have their mag, which usually starts with family or church members, they don't want to advertise that they have one. Yeah, Hala, if you like that show, please by all means subscribe and check out some of the other channels of some of the people that are in the chat. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, and check out Vision Preparedness and Devil Dog Prepper, the Roaming Prepper, New York, NY Prepper. I want to say New York, but he's not in New York anymore. So NY Prepper. You know, check us all out, because if you like that show, these channels will teach you how to live the life and walk the walk. And you know, if this channel serves to do anything, I mean, obviously I'm not in it to make money, because YouTube will never let me get monetized. They will never let me. Every time I get close to that 1,000 mark, they knock me right down. But it's just to educate and inform. You know, as bad as things get, I want to make sure that, you know, I've helped somebody else thrive and succeed. If I can, you know, help one family become more prepared and more ready for anything that's coming down the pike, I've done my job. So that's where we're at. Oh, Mike, I think that's a fantastic idea. I was, well, actually, I can't really say too much about it, but the big thing that I had, you know, kind of going on has been temporarily put on hold. Not just for me, but for the others involved too. So I'm not exactly sure why or what's going on with that, but that might be something in the near future, near to mid future, I guess. So anyway, any other questions for anybody, or did I make any sense at all today? Because I'm like living on coffee and steroids right now, and I'm just, my brain's scattered, and I've probably had only maybe 5 or 6 hours of sleep in the last 5 or 6 days. So, you know, I think it was Saturday night, I didn't sleep at all, and it's just been bits and pieces here and there. So I probably sound like a scatterbrained idiot, but if there's, you know, anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, nuggets of wisdom that that you want to pass along to, you know, anybody who may be watching the replay, have at it. Anyone? Oh goodness, let me see if I can show you my mess over here real quick, because I showed you where the studio is going to be. And my kitchen's a mess. Like I said, everything's a construction zone, like, you know, saws and equipment and everything else. So this is, I've got tons of planters over here and everything anyway, but I've got all this going on here. There's hazelnuts, and I've got a rose bush that my friend got us. Oh, and I got a ginkgo tree. I didn't know it, but ginkgo will actually, it's a tree. I always thought it was like some sort of plant or shrub. It's not, and it's the leaves that give you the medicine that's good for memory and things. And as dippy as I am lately, I could use the memory help. So I got one of those. These are hazelnuts. I've got my basil and thyme going. I've got some loofahs started right here, and those will go outside once it's time. Let's see, I've got peppermint and catnip for our kitties. There's a rosemary, and that rosemary actually survived the accident. My friend took it with her to keep for me, well, so that it didn't die while we were, you know, rebuilding and everything. So that was really awesome. And she saved my giant aloe, which I really need to repot. This thing is a monster. It's got tons of babies. Like, I have these giant planters here that we got that I'll be repotting that the first nice day we have, because I don't want to do it in the house and you know, have that mess in here. But there will definitely be aloe babies at the Homestead and Garden Swap. Without a doubt. I think I gave away 30 babies from that plant last year. And she took that plant for me, and it went nuts for her just like it does for me. My mother-in-law gave me that thing as like something this big. It was a baby off of her plant when my husband and I first got married. And every time I hit that sucker with fertilizer, it's like a million different babies. And my daughter has one in her room that's like this big off of that plant. So good, healthy stock. So if anybody wants any of those, let me know. Maybe I can mail one out to you. Depending on how crazy the post office is. I've been having a hard enough time getting Aloa's fertile eggs and elderberry cuttings out to her just because the post office sucks here. So anyway, I appreciate you guys all coming here, especially on short notice, and especially because I've been MIA for so long. You know, I'm here to help you guys, but I learn a lot from you too. So again, I appreciate. Hey Teresa, how are you? Just wrapping things up, but I'm very happy to see you. But again, just remember, guys, it's a process. You'll never hit the finish line. Don't look at setbacks as setbacks. Look at the challenges as a chance to reevaluate and regroup and use it to your advantage to, you know, find the right plan for you and your family, because nothing is a one size fits all. You have to plan for things that are going to work for you and yours, and it's not going to be the same thing that works for your neighbor or your brother or anybody else for that matter. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, and don't forget, as always, do your research and prep on.